Hi, welcome back to the Lisa Nichols Show, where we have carefrontational, courageous conversations that grown folks have about life transformation, about holding on to a new dream, letting go of an old issue, holding on to a new possibility, letting go of an old relationship. Here, we have conversations that gladiators have, giants have, unicorns have, real life people have, about what does it mean to every day strive to become the best version of myself, sometimes in spite of myself. So welcome. If it's your first time here, I hope that you find it a home. I hope that you find it like so many others have, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have found it as a safe space. This is your safe space. I've created for you the safe space I needed for myself. So, welcome home. Today's conversation is how do I have a job and a dream? And most importantly, how do I live my dream while working a job? So many people come to me and say, Lisa, I have a day job, and yet I have this dream. I want to be a dancer. I want to be a singer. I want to be a photographer. I want to be a speaker. I want to be an author. I want to be a dream. And, you know, I love our parents. I love our parents' parents, but I don't see a lot of space back in the day to live your dream while working your job. Matter of fact, it was taught, be dutiful on your job, stay there 25 years and be acknowledged. And while that's important, and if that's your dream, then do that. If your dream is to be the most powerful, effective team member for an organization, then you are a brand within a brand. And make sure you do your part. Your role is 100% you. And so ownership is not always everything. Ownership of a business is not everything. We're in this state where entrepreneurialism is sexy. I remember 20 years ago, you say you want to be an entrepreneur. People said, oh, how incredibly lazy. You're just trying to have a job where you work for yourself so you don't have to really work. I was embarrassed to tell people I was an entrepreneur 20 years ago, or that I wanted to leave my job, because jobs represent security. And I don't encourage you, if you have a dream, to run off and leave your job, because you can't dream when you're worried about the light bill. You can't dream when you're worried about the gas bill. You can't dream when you're worried about your car note or your children. And so I believe that careers have a valuable, vital place. That's how things run, is that people have careers. And so don't feel like there's a this or that, a dream or a career. What about an and? If you have a dream and you have a job, I think that's amazing. All you need to do is learn how to navigate both. You need to learn how to navigate your job so that you do it with joy, grace, and gratitude, that you over-deliver. If you give your employer, or as I like to call it, your investor. Why do I call your employer your investor? Because your employer, your investor, gives you the freedom to invest in the things you love, gives you the freedom to invest in vacation, gives you the freedom. So rename your job your investor, because it's through your investor that you can do things. And then know that if you give your investor just what they ask for, that's sea level. You want to blow people's mind. But you can only do that in a job if you operate from a place of gratitude. Every day you go to your job and you have that job, they've chosen you again. And every day you go to that job, you've chosen them again. Live with that fresh energy. Tweak the things that don't work for you. Set healthy boundaries. Leave work at work, but get it done. And then create a space for your dream to stop being your dream and become your reality. See, people resent jobs when they feel like their job has cost them their life. Your job didn't cost you your life. Your job hired you to deliver a result. And that's what you are charged with doing. Outside of that, what's your dream? Let's have some dream time. And right after you have the dream, let's have some strategy time. Let's write down the when, the where, the by when. Let's write down the macro wins, your big goals, and let's write down your micro wins, your smaller goals to get you to the dream. Let's let them both coexist. We don't live in an either-or world. We live in an and with. Most importantly, let's begin to invest in your dream. Let's write your dream a check. If you read my book, Abundance Now, then you know that I wrote my dream a check every 2 weeks for 3.5 years. If you haven't picked it up, pick it up. I'm not trying to sell a book. I don't have to do that. I just want you to get the details of how I did it. I don't have time to tell you here everything. But in a nutshell, I wrote myself a check every 2 weeks when I worked for LA Unified School District. I appreciated LA Unified School District. It was difficult. It was challenging. I was young. I was a young mother. I had a big dream in my belly, and I had a big job I needed to do. And I did them both. Every day I worked my job from 9 to 6. Every night I literally wrote my time in, on my fake time card. I wrote my time in at 6:30 every evening. And I worked from 6:30 till about 10:30, 11:30. Jelani was right there with me at my job. I stayed at my job. They let me stay there in the evenings. No one really, I was in this old building that I worked in. Jelani would come. I had blankets for him. I had food for him. I had toys for him. And I made sure he was comfortable. I was radical. I'm sure somebody judged me, but heck, somebody always gonna talk about you. Talk about me while I'm building my dream. I wrote myself a check every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, I wrote myself a check. And in the memo line, I put funding my dream. That's why I call it your investor. Because I wrote a check from my payroll check to my dream. I let my payroll fund my dream. Come on, I don't know if you hear me. I let my payroll fund my dream, which is why I was excited to go to work, which is why I kept them very, very happy. I didn't go to work with a resentful heart as if they're snatching my life away. And I invite you to go to work with a joyful heart and then write your dream a check. Even before you know what the dream is. If you know you have a dream and it's still getting clear, write yourself a check, funding my dream as I get clear. Put it in the bank account that you don't touch. And then every day, do one more thing to make your dream your reality. I'm your sister in this journey. I'm honored to walk this path with you. I'm honored to help pose some questions and poke some holes and agitate some souls and some energy and stir up some things you hadn't thought of before. I'm honored to do that. I'm also honored to remind you that you're in the exact right place at the exact right time doing the exact right thing. Your life is a culmination of divine appointments that led you right here. Why? Because this is your home. We are your tribe, and I am your sister in prosperity and in possibility. And when I say I believe in you and I love you, I don't say it for lack of other words and things to say. I say it because I believe in you and I love you. I'll see you next time.